Was blind, but now I see. I see.
During several grade school years, my grandmother lived in the same building as 10 of her grandchildren, 4 of us and 6 cousins. As soon as the front door was opened, any of us would know if Grandma had baked bread that day. Oh, how we loved her homemade bread and rolls. We were all about carbs. My son Marcus wore a t-shirt in his youth that our entire family could relate to. It was the Pillsbury Doughboy screening on the front. Our sons come by their love for carbo-loaded breads, quite honestly, as well. We love bread, they love bread. And when I first got married, I tried baking rolls, but I didn't know much about bread making or yeast, and I hadn't read up, and the rolls I made came out rock hard. So that discouraged me for a few decades. But with Thanksgiving this week, I'm looking forward to baking fresh yeast rolls for that special Thursday dinner. Even with a feast that commemorates our thanks for a bountiful harvest from our God, those rolls and all the food will be gone in a flash. But I think Jesus is with me on this bread thing. In the Gospel of John, chapter 6, from the Message Bible, I'm struck by the conversation between Jesus and the crowd he gave his miracle bread to the day before. It seems that they, like our family, were amazed by the generous amount of good bread. And so they came to him again, and Jesus told them this in their searching for him and for bread state. Don't waste your energy striving for perishable food like that. Work for the food that sticks with you, food that nourishes your lasting life, food the Son of Man provides. My Father is right now offering you bread from heaven, the real bread. The bread of God came down out of heaven and is giving life to the world. Now here's the problem. They still thought Jesus was talking about food that hits the dinner plate. So he had to continue teaching them. He said, I am the bread of life. The person who aligns with me hungers no more and thirsts no more, ever. And he had to say it again in that same chapter. I am the bread of life. Your ancestors ate the manna bread in the desert and died. But now here is bread that truly comes down out of heaven. Anyone eating this bread will not die ever. I am the bread, living bread. Anyone who eats this bread will live and forever. The bread that I present to the world so that it can eat and live is myself, this flesh and blood self. Now, to me, that's pretty convincing, but at that point, some of the crowd started arguing about how Christ could serve up a meal of himself. I think there are a lot of us who get stuck with arguing about a good deal of things, sometimes with our opinions on bread and sometimes our opinions on Jesus. But as I think about it, I want to sit down with him and eat the fresh bread from heaven every time I open my Bible. It fills me up in a way that Grandma's bread or any other of the great breads ever could.